With the exception of a very short list of realities, there's very little in a relationship you can't fix. There are some what I call drop-dead deal breakers. These are things that I don't care what the situation or circumstance surrounding them is. If these things exist, they're deal breakers. You need to get out and get out right now. You need to hit the eject button, get out, and don't look back. And I bet you want to know what they are. You can guess. Number one is violence. If you're in a relationship and someone is attacking you, they are beating on you, they are choking you, slapping you, hitting you, physically abusing you, you need to begin to formulate a safe exit plan and get out as quickly as you can safely do so. I'm saying as quickly as you can safely do so. Why am I saying it that way? Because over 70% of all murders and serious injuries in violent relationships occur in the 3 weeks following when that person leaves their abuser. You've got someone that's abusing you, and so you leave. The next 3 weeks are the most dangerous times you have ever spent with that abuser. And you say, well, wait a minute, I'm not with them anymore. I understand. The next 3 weeks are the most dangerous time you will ever have in your relationship with that person. Why? Because abusers are controlling, right? Physically abusing people are controlling. And when you are not available for their control anymore, they panic. It's what we call the frustration effect. Their control, their need for control, their panic, their insecurity ratchets up, and they ratchet up with it, and so they get desperate and they do more desperate things. That's why I say you need a safe exit plan, and going to mama's house is not it. They know where mama lives, and they will come over there, and in a desperate attempt to assert their control further, that's when people get seriously hurt or killed. So drop dead deal breaker number one, violence. Make a safe exit plan. And by the way, a good place to find out what that is, you can go to whengeorgiasmile.org. My wife Robin has the Aspire initiative there, which is devoted to victims of domestic violence. And there are the steps for forming a safe exit plan there. You can go to the National Domestic Violence Hotline, and there'll be resources on both of those places that will give you the information you need to know. Second, if you've got somebody that is abusing drugs or alcohol and they refuse to get help, they're a drug addict or an alcoholic and they refuse to get help, you're no longer living with your husband or wife, your partner. You need to get out. They got out. They left you when they got addicted to drugs and alcohol. You're no longer living with them. You're living with a drug-altered version of them. So if they will not get help, you need to protect yourself and get out and not return until such a time as some independent professional tells you that they have dealt with the issue and it is safe for you to return. Those are drop-dead deal breakers. The third one is pathology, and by that I mean mental illness. And I'm not just talking about somebody that's moody here. I'm not talking about somebody that's kind of idiosyncratic, or you just think they don't think the way you do, so therefore that's not okay with you. I'm talking about someone that has a diagnosed mental illness. They clearly do not have contact with reality, and they are doing dangerous things. And they refuse to get help and continue to behave in ways that put you and or your children in harm's way. Now, is what I'm doing telling you to abandon your partner because they have a mental illness? Absolutely not. I'm telling you to protect yourself and your children if you are living with someone that suffers from a mental illness and refuses to acknowledge it and refuses to get help for it and refuses to take the steps to keep you safe. There are people that are delusional or have paranoid schizophrenia or paranoid delusions that are so convinced that they are being persecuted that they will take steps or evasive steps that can put you in harm's way. They can drive erratically. They can board up the house where if it catches on fire, the children can't get out. If you've got someone that is really out of touch with reality and they refuse to get help, you must keep yourself and your children safe. Go to therapy with them. Go see them in the treatment facility every day. Do everything you can to support and stand by them, but not at the risk of your own health, safety, and well-being or that of your children. It's not abandoning someone to require them to get help. And if your relationship is in trouble, I want you to work on you. The statistics are not good for marital therapy, I'm just telling you. 2/3 of all people, all couples that get marital therapy, are worse or no better after 1 year. Sad fact. They're worse or no better after 1 year. Is that because the therapists don't know what they're doing? No, it's because you typically don't listen. You typically don't do what they tell you to do. You're really good while you're sitting there in the office, but then you go home and it doesn't translate very well. That's why I say, I'm not trying to fix the couple here, I'm trying to fix you. We're starting with you. You can't control him or her, but you can control you. Now, I said some of this truth you're not going to like, and here's the truth you're not going to like, but it's a truth that can absolutely set you free. If you are in a bad relationship because you set it up that way, you're in a bad relationship because you set it up that way. You designed, programmed, choreographed your lifestyle such that there was absolutely no other possible outcome than for you to generate and perpetuate a bad relationship. Now, you don't need to hit replay. You don't need to back it up. You heard me right. You are in a bad relationship because you set it up that way. You programmed it where there was no other possible outcome. You actually programmed it. You were dead in the water when you started because you programmed it that way. And I'll tell you why. You cannot possibly have anything in your life that occurs on any kind of sustainable basis that your lifestyle does not support. Now, think about what I just said. You cannot have a bad relationship unless your lifestyle sustains it. You must have a lifestyle that is riddled with stress, pressure, distractions, paranoia, chaos, and a self-defeating internal dialogue in order to have a negative relationship. And you're thinking, well, now, that's just not right. I just don't believe you. Well, look, I'm not blaming you. I'm just telling you how it is. And let me give you an example that you can use in your own life. Think of a time period in your life where your weight and your health eroded. Think about your lifestyle during that time. I'll promise you, you were eating more, exercising less, and eating foods that you knew were low in nutritional value and high in fats and sugars, and they were easily digestible. You see, healthy foods have what I call a high response cost. Think about eating raw broccoli. Raw broccoli has a high response cost, right? It takes a while to eat a stalk of raw broccoli. Now think about getting a bean burrito at a fast food place. You can eat it like a wood chipper. You just put it up there and it's gone. Okay, low response cost food. So you pick a time in your life where you've put on weight, you're out of shape, you don't feel as good. Your lifestyle supported you being out of shape, overweight, and not feeling as good. Now, let's go to a time in your life where you're energetic and your weight is spot on and your health is good, your lab work is good, your energy is good. I'll promise you your lifestyle supported that. And if I want to know, I can follow you around and predict where you're headed. I can follow you around for a week and tell you, you continue this lifestyle a month from now, you're going to be overweight, out of shape, not feeling good, and low in energy. Or I can follow you around for a week where you're exercising, eating with some discipline, paying attention to the nutritional value of the food you're eating, and I can tell you a month from now you're going to be feeling good, looking good, high energy, and performing well. I can start with the outcome and work backwards and tell you what the lifestyle was. If I see a bad relationship, I guarantee you I can go back and say this is a lifestyle that is full of pressure, chaos, stress, poor sleep, etc., etc. You set it up that way. There's no way you can have a bad relationship if you don't have a lifestyle to support it. You think weeds grow out of thin air? No, they don't. There has to be something to support it. If a weed's going to grow, it has to have food. It has to have water. It has to have sunlight. Something has to support that weed being there. You know, there's an island in the Caribbean where a bunch of pigs live on this island. Let me tell you, somebody had to take those pigs there. They didn't just one day a pig pop up out of the ground. There had to be pigs there. Then people had to feed these pigs. They had to nurture these pigs. There has to be an environmental support system for those pigs to exist, just like there has to be an environmental support system for your bad relationship to exist. And it has to be a bad relationship with you. So what does that tell you? It tells you that if we're going to do this, if we're going to improve your reciprocity with the world, if we're going to improve your interaction with the world as a social being, if we're going to improve your marriage, if we're going to improve your romantic relationship, if we're going to improve your friendships, if we're going to improve you as a social being, you've got to raise your game. You have to require more of yourself. You have to live with dignity. You have to have respect and emotional integrity. Unless you get right with you, you will never get right with anyone else.